and leave it somewhere. Someone else tries to take it up, then it just stagnates in there. David, you were just about to top up on this particular one.
No, look, I think the cost of money is clearly critical. Everyone, certainly at this conference, has identified that as a major impediment. And I think we need to flag the issue of a global trend of rising interest rates in general. I've made the constant assertion about Africa's rise in the last decade, that part of that rise has been on the back of the global economic credit crunch and US and other Western investors looking for higher rates of return outside of the traditional Western markets. We are now faced with at least a moderate uptick in US interest rates, which could also extend perhaps even into Western Europe. And as a result of that, the question is how much more will this add to financing costs here on the continent? I am a little concerned, if I have to be honest, about the issue of financing going forward. And African economies themselves are now going to be forced into a very difficult decision-making process of whether to keep interest rates relatively competitive or themselves to raise interest rates over the course of the next number of months, creating less of a differential between this continent's returns and, for that matter, returns in major Western markets. So I think this is an issue that is going to become much more difficult, much more, and what's the way to get out of it? Ultimately, the way to get out of it is for governance in general across the continent to be a lot more attractive, a lot more accountable, a lot more transparent, and a lot more competitive, given these added constraints of global financing and interest rates. And I'm not sure, and I really do think that we need to really look forward, and I say look into the future, to a scenario where rising interest rates are a constraint, and what do we do about it? We don't go back into the same old ways of doing business, the same old doubts about tenure, ownership, all the regulatory environment that can become so burdensome on investors. We need to deregulate, for that matter, across the continent, and that to me is the way to compete and perhaps to inject some enthusiasm into the finance aspect of the industry.
But then again, David, maybe if I could just follow up on that one.